I believe it was Thursday night. This was announced that Aaron Judge has won the American League MVP over Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh. Again, I forgot to mention this, but Aaron Judge, of course, plays outfield for the Yankees, which sparks a lot of controversy because Cal Raleigh had that historic season, the kind of the unheard of season, which really got me thinking. So again, I picked common theme here. I pitched the idea to Jake and Evan. Did the right person win MVP? Evan, I'll your thoughts, Jake, and then I'll pitch in.
This should be good because once this was announced Thursday, I had some friends coming in saying that, Cal Raleigh, he needed this, and I'm like, oh boy, because I'm looking around, and I think they got it right with Aaron Judge. So I'm really curious to hear what Jake and Jordan said. We did not talk about this before we started this topic, so it should be good. I do believe they got it right with Aaron Judge. I think if you look at the numbers. Aaron Judge's batting stats were insane this year. 53 home runs, nearly I think it was like a 450 on base percentage, nearly like a 500 on base percentage. To be that good of a hitter, and again, I'm not trying to blaze the Yankees. You guys know how much, if you've watched this podcast, you guys know I can't stand the Yankees. You know I can't stand the Dodgers, but you do
I don't
have to
think
give
anyone can unless you're a Yankees fan.
Absolutely. My grandpa grew up in the 50s and he installed Yankees dislike for me because that was when they were winning it every single year. Now it's still annoying because they're not winning it every single year, but their fans still act like they do. But anyways, that's besides the point. You do have to give credit where it's due. Aaron Judge had a crazy statistical season this year. And so did Cal Raleigh. You got to be fair with that. I'm not only giving it to him. Cal Raleigh had over 60 home runs as a catcher. That has never happened before. He also it's not like he was hitting 200. He was hitting pretty well. I think he had like around a 350 on base percentage. He was playing pretty well. But if you do break it down by the numbers, that's about .100 gap in on base percentage. If you look at the wins above replacement, I think Aaron Judge had nearly 10. Cal Raleigh was like seven something. So that's sort of a big spread. If it was close, you could make the case. But I want as much as I don't like Judge and I don't like the Yankees, I want the MLB to pick like this. I want them to pick based on the best statistical year if it's clear. Because if my favorite team, the White Sox, and we're unfortunately a little bit irrelevant, but say Luis Robert goes crazy and he has a great statistical year, but also Yankee has a great statistical year, but it's not as great. I don't want Luis Robert getting screwed over just because he's on the White Sox. So as much as I would have loved to see Cal Raleigh win MVP, and he probably wins it most other years, I do think this was the right call because I don't want the MLB to screw over other deserving players later on because Aaron Judge had the better numbers. And if it was closer, I will defend the Cal Raleigh side a little bit. If it was closer, you could make the case. A catcher has never been more valuable than Cal Raleigh was to the Mariners this year on defense, obviously hitting the ball. I think there's never been a better statistical catcher season ever, for sure. But the numbers just would have been needed. They would have needed to be just a little bit closer for me to make that call. But I think Judge's numbers were better. I do think they got it right. So the Cal Raleigh side's not crazy. I just do think they're wrong, unfortunately. But
Yeah, so I had when this got announced the other night, I had a few friends hit me up. They were like, they were like Aaron Judge didn't deserve a Ganga Cal Raleigh. And you know what? I disagree with them. I think Aaron Judge had one of the seasons of one of the best seasons of his career. I think that, if it was any other year, Cal Raleigh would have won it. But I think Aaron Judge played out of his mind this year. 53 home runs. He batted over 330, had an OPS near 500. Like Evan was saying, I think his slugging was like 700, which, is outrageous. And I think they got it right here, giving the award to Aaron Judge. Obviously Cal Raleigh 60 home runs never happened for a catcher before his scored season. I'm not denying that. But you got to think about, was he consistent with it? He hit 247. You know, if if he was getting on base every time he was hitting the home runs, I would say, yeah, give it to Cal Raleigh. But he struck out a lot more this
But
year, and I think
and
that
I
was
don't mean
the
to interrupt, but just really quick, Cal Raleigh most years would still win the MVP based on his stats. It's
yeah,
just Aaron Judge was slightly better. So you're like nitpicking like I was a little bit too, but yeah.
yeah. If Aaron Judge did not have the year that he had, the MVP would have gone to Cal Raleigh.
All right, so I personally do not think they got it right. With all due respect to Aaron Judge, that is a crazy season to have. Obviously, leading the Yankees to the playoffs. I believe that they actually made the ALDS. Unfortunately, losing to the Blue Jays. I know the MVP is not a postseason award, but I mean you got to look at the season Cal Raleigh had. The dude's a catcher. Think about everything you have to do as a catcher. What does MVP stand for? Most valuable player. Are the Mariners close to what they are without Cal Raleigh? So the catcher, of course, has to learn the pitches of every pitcher on the pitching staff, keep an eye on the runners, throw them out if they're trying to steal. Oh, by the way, they have to hit. It's I don't think it's really that close, honestly. But again, with all due respect to Aaron Judge, he's an outfielder. What does he have to do out there? Catch the ball? That's about it. So for me, Cal Raleigh is the MVP. I do not think Major League Baseball got this right. Um, I just don't.
So what my argument to that would be, and that would be like I even said it in my initial argument. That would be the thing is like Cal Raleigh is arguably the most valuable in this season. I'm not saying he's the greatest catcher of all time, but this might be the best catcher season of all time. I think we would probably mostly agree with that. My thing it would be wins above replacement is a stat that already considers defense. And it still thinks Aaron Judge had
It
the
is. It
de
is. It is.
ha, had a decently better season. So that would be I think it's close. I think Cal Raleigh deserves respect and he would win it most other years, but that would still be my understanding of it is that again, if the numbers were closer, say the wins were above replacement, the batting average were a little bit closer, I would probably side with Jordan. I just think the numbers are a little bit too far, but I like his argument though.
So I just wish that this year they gave out co-MVPs, because I personally think both of them deserved it.
Yeah,
Well,
they've done that. Well, I know the NFL has done that before. I
yeah,
remember, I think it was
co-MVP,
2003.
but
Peyton
this year
Manning
was
and
a
well, I was
perfect
just going to
season.
say quick. Peyton Manning. I remember Peyton Manning and Steve McNair won the same year. They that should you know what? That's actually a good compromise. I like that by because it was a crazy season by
Yeah.
Cal Raleigh. Yeah.
Yeah, but both of them were just absolutely insane. And speaking of MVP, I know this comes as a shock, but Shohei Ohtani won National League MVP. Just quick thoughts here. Evan, Jake, and then I'll chime in.
I'm just going to say not surprised. Was there a close second? I'm not even completely sure, but
He
not
won
surprised.
unanimously.
Yeah, I'm not that. I think that was obviously another Dodger, and we've talked about this. We're getting sick of the Dodgers, a Dodger and a Yankee winning, but yeah, it was deserved. Yeah.
Jake,
Yeah, I mean,
just
it doesn't come as a shock. Shohei played out of his mind. I think he deserved it in the end. Another Gaza, though, not shocked, but
yeah, I'm not shocked either. Kind of shocked he won it unanimously, but not just not really shocked that he won it. You also had Kyle Schwarber up for that award and had a big year in Philadelphia, as I mentioned a few weeks ago when talking about the MLB playoff predictions. Um, just kind of shocked he won it unanimously. Not really shocked that he won it. Shohei Ohtani is Shohei Ohtani. He might be the greatest baseball player on the planet. And fun fact, so last year the MVPs were Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. This year they're Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
Do you remember? Has that ever? I'm sure that's probably happened. Do
Yeah,
you
that's
think that's
probably happened, but
like
off the
way
top
back?
of my head,
Yeah,
off the
not
top
a
of my head, I can't tell you when that was, if
maybe
ever.
like Babe Ruth or someone like way back in the 1920s or something. I don't know. That seems pretty rare to me. Both back to back. Yeah,
Yeah.
Babe Ruth and like Hank Aaron or something.
right. Hank Aaron was like 50s, I think, but like I'm trying to think of someone way back. This would have to be way back. But Yeah, maybe someone, if you guys are still watching, you can comment and fact check us on this. Who was the last, when was the last time that happened? Both leagues had back-to-back MVPs in baseball.
if ever.
Yeah, if ever. Yeah, I honestly wouldn't put it past that never happened. Yeah.